Hey guys, welcome to the first video of my channel. I'm Vent and this is 13% Vent, where I vent about things happening in American society from the viewpoint of a black conservative. The election is over, Trump is our president, and the Democrats are still wheeling from their embarrassing defeat in November. In this video by Jubilee, we basically have the left having a civil war about why they lost the election. And it should be interesting. I'm interested to hear some of their viewpoints as to why they lost. I think we all know why they lost, but we'll go ahead and get right into it.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. The far left made us lose the election. In the interviews, I did have a lot of people agree.
Ooh. Show yourself.
Okay.
Step up. Let's go.
Yeah, and the reason why they pause right there is because the left, they pretty much eat their own. You can't really have a positive, productive discussion with them without one of them saying something to insult you for the way that you think about the world or your beliefs. They pretty much eat their own. It's very hard to be on the left. This coming from somebody who used to be one of them. Anyway, back to the video.
I mean, I think in general, what we're saying is that it's not that we disagree with a lot of the things that the far left believes in. It's so much more of the way it's communicated and their approach. And I think we see it in extremism in any capacity with regards to any.
Yeah, and that's the problem right there. You have these so-called moderates. They're not really moderates. They're actually leftists. They see these terrible things happening. They see common sense going out the window. They see the high levels of illegal immigration. They see inflation, and they're just fine with it. They just sit down and they're just complacent with the country falling apart. But here's the problem with it. The moment you say anything negative about like what's happening, what's going on, why is there a man in the women's bathroom, anything like that, what do? I bet you any one of these people on this panel will be the first ones to call you out and call you a bigot, say that you're a racist, say that you don't believe in individuality. They'll say all kinds of things. But yeah, these are the moderates. Let's keep going.
Issue, but obviously for us, I think it affects us more because it's like, well, gosh, I do agree with you in so many ways, but the way you're doing it is making us look so bad, and it's turning, like you said, a lot of people that are more in the center away.
I actually believe that a lot of moderate Republicans actually held their nose and voted for Trump, but they were just so like, we cannot go this far left. We almost, since he's the only real viable option on the right, we have to go with him.
So many of them that I've spoken to, they see Trump as being moderate, which is really interesting. And they defend.
Yeah, and they can't even believe that. The funny thing is that for the longest period of time, if you look at the 80s, you look at the 90s, look at the early 2000s, look at Trump and who his friends were. He was friends with Oprah Winfrey, a lot of the far left celebrities. Trump has never been an actual conservative. He's always been on the left. He's always been Democrat. Maybe you could say he's closer to the middle, but he's never been on the right. He's never been like, okay, look, let's ban abortion. What was his position on abortion? Oh, leave it up to the states. If he were a true conservative, if he was everything that these Democrats claim that they were so scared of, then he would have been running on an abortion ban. But no, he didn't. And he even said that when he got into office that he wouldn't sign a nationwide abortion ban. So to say that, oh, he's not moderate, it's ridiculous because he's definitely not conservative.
But it's like, again, it's the optics, and whether it's true or not, but if that's what people are perceiving it, if they're like, whoa, the left has gone so far left that Trump seems like the moderate candidate, then there's definitely an issue there, and I think needs to be addressed.
Can you guys be specific about the agenda?
Right. Yeah. So I would say items that I feel compromise the far left agenda would be like transgender rights. And I say that, please don't think that I'm saying there doesn't need to be acknowledgement of any person, wherever they're at, whether it's LGBTQ+, transgender, minorities, whatever. I believe we all deserve equal human rights. But if your agenda is to focus on one group of people that kind of compromise, I think something less than 2% of the population, and you're neglecting something huge, I think you were the one that said, like the economy, you're not gonna get many people to go down your train of thought with that.
I feel like the Democratic Party was like, we're going to hit all of these left ideals. We're going to hit about trans rights. We're going to hit about women's rights. We're going to hit about all of this. And that's what kind of led things to the back burner. And the problem is when you do hit certain demographics, like you do want to send a message out to all women, you kind of forget the fact that like not all women want abortion, right?
Sure, yeah.
And by having that emphasis.
Yeah, and you just look at them, especially that one on the right. She's just shocked, like, oh my God, not everybody wants an abortion. Yes, that's right. Not everybody wants to kill their child. Actually, if you look at the data, a majority of Americans actually want to have limits and restrictions on abortion. Nobody wants unlimited access to abortion up until the point of birth. You know, not everybody is a savage. Some of us actually like using proper methods of birth control, such as condoms, or or even better than that, let's just say abstinence. Abstinence can be a great tool. You know what? If you're so worried about having a baby, then just don't engage in activity that leads to having a baby.
On like these pinpoint issues, you really do neglect the majority.
Yeah, and I mean, the exit polls showed that the two biggest issues Americans on the whole, all Americans cared most about was the economy and immigration.
Right.
And like the percentage that cared about things like abortion and race relations, like they were on the map, but they were so small in comparison to these bigger issues. I would say that I do hesitate to call it a left-wing agenda because it sounds kind of sinister when you say that, and the right-wing agenda, and it's almost like they're trying to infiltrate and control everything, and therefore they're bad and we must destroy them. I don't really like that.
That's funny because it is an agenda, and yeah, they like to control everything. If you look at all the big tech companies, what do? When you said something that they didn't like, or some type of information that they didn't want to get out, even if it was true, what do? They censored you. They shadow banned you. They made it so that it was hard for your voice to reach anybody. You know, they advertise and say, oh, you know, anybody can come on here and say what they want, but no, they can't. You have to say things within their walled garden. You can't just say, you know, hey, look, the vaccine may have some side effects. No, because what are they going to do? They're going to say, oh, that's misinformation. You can't say things like, hey, look, this Hunter Biden laptop seems pretty fishy. We should check out the story. No. Oh, you said anything about that? Oh, no. That's Russian disinformation. And these are the types of tools that the left will use to censor you, to make you smaller, to make it so that you can't reach anybody, and basically isolate anybody who doesn't agree with them. And it's one of the main reasons why they lost. You know, they're stuck in a bubble. And it's funny because a lot of these people are so delusional, but they can't even see how they even got to be that way in the first place. And that's through not listening to different viewpoints. You know, maybe hearing from somebody who isn't in your closest friend circle. Maybe you should have a one-on-one discussion with somebody from somewhere else. Maybe somebody who's got different experiences growing up. But no, they're more so concerned with diversity in color rather than diversity of thought.
That terminology, but as far as what I think, if we had to call it an agenda, what we see happening on the left is that they're really set on putting everything in terms of race and sex and sexual orientation. And it causes a lot of division, it causes tribalism. And again, I'm not saying that that's their intention. I'm not saying that's their agenda. I'm not saying that they've written it out like this is what we're gonna do. Optically, that's how it looks. That's how people are interpreting it. And it wasn't very unifying for a lot of Americans. It wasn't the most important thing to a lot of Americans when we had things like immigration and the economy that it was affecting everybody and that everybody really cared about.
Yeah. And now, can the disagreeers step forward?
Oh, God.
Oh, this should be good.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard the word of the day was optics. And it's interesting to me, just a quick survey. Does anybody think that Biden is a far left president?
No.
Right, exactly. And if you look on Fox News, you look on any right-wing media, they're labeling him as a socialist. So the optics of like Kamala was too far left or she was going too much into progressive values, no matter who it is, the candidate's going to be labeled this crazy far left extremist.
Actually, he's only half right. Yeah, Joe Biden wasn't some far left extremist, but you know who were? The people who actually worked underneath him and made all of his decisions for him. The ones who ran his social media accounts. You know, the one who basically talked to him about all the policies that he signed that led to the open border, the extreme controls coming out of the ATF, where they wanted to ban pistol braces, where they wanted to turn basically anything into a firearm with, like, for example, you can even say like a frame or receiver. You know, they had all kinds of crazy far left, wild ideologies. And we all know that Joe Biden wasn't in control during his administration. It was somebody else. Plain and simple.
So the optics, I think, are a little bit weird to be prioritizing how the right views Democratic candidates instead of what those Democratic candidates actually stand for. And to me, when we're talking about the far left is discounting economic issues, that's really the only thing the far left was talking about, or people who were on the progressive side. We want to see student loans be more forgiven. We want to see some sort of housing situation to the increasing rent. We want to see better climate measures so that way we can stop things like these California wildfires and other disasters across the country.
Yeah, building on that really quickly, a really illuminating moment for me personally was, I think it was like a week before the election or something, Kamala was being interviewed by somebody. And she was asked if she thought trans healthcare was like a human right, you know, and she was, like you're saying, supposedly the progressive candidate. That's certainly the way the media, or a lot of the conservative media, was labeling her. And, you know, she sort of waffled back and forth, and eventually she ended up saying, well, it should be up to the states. It should be up to the states, right? And that's why it's interesting for me to hear that you guys thought it was, you know, leaned too left, when I know certain people who, you know, didn't vote for Trump as a result of that, but were like, okay, Kamala clearly doesn't have my interests at heart as a trans person, you know what I mean? And while, yeah, somebody said that it is a small demographic, it's still a demographic I think worth paying attention to.
I think.
Yeah, a demographic of like less than 2%. And see, that's the problem with the far left. You know, they think that any demographic that associates with their extreme ideologies is worth paying attention to. They think that they're worth catering to. They think that they're worth sacrificing an election to. But if you look at the polls and you look at what, you know, actual normal day-to-day Americans think, they think that, hey, look, this has nothing to do with me. You know, I don't pay my taxes so that, you know, I can have my restrooms changed up. You know, like I don't live for this. I'm just here to live a normal life, provide for my family, and you know, just live. But to them, no, everything's a battle, everything's a fight. You know, somebody's always racist, somebody's always sexist, and yeah, that's a turnoff. Nobody wants to hear that all day. But anyway, I digress.
I think a culture war is real, and we did not start that. The left did not start that. With advocacy, the right created a culture war in order to focus on these issues that are marginal. They are putting the focus on these issues, not the left. Like Trump ran an ad. It said Kamala is for them, right? Like playing on the whole gender, non-binary, transgender rights thing, right?
Yeah, but Kamala never had an answer to that ad. You want to know why? Because she actually believes in it. Because she is extreme. She is the candidate that said that she wanted to pay for, you know, have government-funded surgeries for illegal immigrants who wanted to transition. You know, like I know a lot of people in the hood wasn't cool with that. I go to the barbershop, I talk about the election. That'd be one of the things that the guys would bring up. And these are guys who all traditionally vote Democrat. But the party has gone so far left, they've gone so far extreme that you can't even rationalize voting for somebody like that. And it's funny that he thinks that the right has brought the culture war. No, the right didn't bring out the culture war. The right just wanted to go to work and go home. But no, you guys had to have your women's marches and advocate for the killing of babies. You guys had to go and have, you know, your race baiting and say that everybody's a racist. Every cop is a racist. All of them need to be defunded. They all need to be put out of work. And then what did we have? We had the BLM riots of 2020. And then we had Antifa. We had the White House being firebombed. Yeah. When has the right made such a huge deal out of culture to the point where they're burning down stores, burning down businesses, attacking police officers. No, and they can say, oh, January 6th happened. You know what? January 6th was one event. And the vast majority of the people there didn't attack a bunch of police officers to the point where they, had to be hospitalized or, for that matter, even bring weapons. Like they call it an insurrection, but where were all the guns from these extreme far right Proud Boys that you guys love to talk about so much? Well, anyway, I'm going to end it there, guys. I appreciate you guys listening to my vent. If you guys want to comment on it, please, comment on it down below. I'll also link to the full video if anybody wants to watch it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, guys.